Welcome to the Inside Out Money Podcast.
Can't even recognize this place. Too many pieces of our past mistakes.
Hi, I'm Maggie, and I believe real change starts from the inside out. So let's work together to improve our money and our lives from the inside out. We will explore all things money and our relationship with it. Join me each week with a rotating set of co-hosts, friends, and interviews. Let's jump in.
It's time we going round and round and round.
Hey, Liz.
Hi, Maggie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm excited to see your face and to talk about meditation.
Yeah. So this is like a special kind of bonus episode. It's off cycle.
This is exclusive content for people who listen to this podcast.
Yeah. Which I guess it's all that, right?
Yeah, that was a joke though.
This is free. This podcast is free if you're a fan of Inside Out Money. But all jokes aside, this is coming out on a Friday. So if anyone's confused and now you think today's Sunday or Monday, we like drop Sunday night, but it's really Monday morning to many people, depending on, unless you stay, a lot of people stay up Sunday or they're like West Coasters. Anyways.
I try to listen to Inside Out Money
on Sundays.
Sometimes
I think about you because I know you do. And so when I'm trying to decide if I'm going to time it or just like push it live an hour early, I'm always like, oh, Liz would appreciate going to bed early tonight.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I've had a few other people tell me that they listen Sunday night. So I'll think about you guys when I'm like, anyways, this is Friday, in case you're confused, still Friday. It's September 1st. We kind of like you actually, I don't know if you said this in the anxiety episode, but we were talking about meditation, that we both were a little off the wagon on it.
Yeah.
And we had, did you come up with the Sit With Us September in that episode? Or was it, I think you texted me that later.
I don't remember. I might have said it in the episode. And then actually I came up with what I think the alternative title.
Oh, you got a better one?
Which is You Can Sit With Us September, which is a play on Mean Girls when they go, you can't sit with us.
Oh, right.
You can sit with us.
You can sit with us. I like it. It took me a minute for that to register too. Well, you can sit with us, whatever you want to call it. We'll figure that out between today and tomorrow. But we decided we'd go like, we're a little out of cycle on the days. We're a little out of cycle on like Liz. We kind of go through the co-host you were just on 2 weeks ago, but that's okay. Can't get enough.
Okay.
Liz gets loaded.
There's no podcast police.
You're right. There's no podcast.
Do what we want.
Yep. We work for ourselves. And we're going to talk about meditation, and we're going to do this. Going to be, I hate to say this is going to be a short episode because when I say that it turns long, but this is a quickie. We want to introduce the concept of You Can Sit With Us September. We're going to try out those two names throughout the episode. We'll see which one rolls off the tongue better.
I think yours does, but yeah, we just wanted to
they're both yours, to be clear.
Well, we want to introduce the idea of a challenge, of a monthly, like something that we're all going to do together.
Yeah.
For the month of September.
We're going to be a big community of accountability partners, and we're all going to sit together. Like you started Off the Couch August, which I think is what inspired this, and that merged with us saying we want to get back on our meditation practices, which we've both been on and off.
Right. So Off the Couch August is a challenge I started. I think this is maybe my third time doing it, but it was, I don't know if anyone else can relate to it. Actually, I know a lot of people can, because I was really vulnerable to share this. I said, I'm really embarrassed to say this, but I have just been in this rut where after work, I'm so tired. All I do is sit on my couch and have a glass of wine and watch TV and eat dinner. And it's one of those things, it's a classic story. I was nervous to share it. I felt vulnerable. And of course, I got so many messages like, oh my gosh, me too. So it's this challenge where you try to do something after work besides sit on the couch and watch TV. Yeah. And it's over today. Well, we're recording this at the very tail end of August. So it's almost over. And then going into September, we're going to have a new challenge around meditation.
Yeah.
Sit with us. September.
Sit with us September. You're good with the names. We'll just do a really quick overview of meditation for folks that may be newer to it, to try to entice you to do this with us. It's free. We're not trying to sell you anything. We just want you to sit with us in the month of September. It's very easy.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll talk about why Maggie and I are both trying to get back on the meditation wagon, and then talk about what the actual challenge will be and how we'll participate. Challenge almost seems like too strong of a word for something.
Yeah, it's not a competition.
Meditation.
Yeah, it's a community. Yes.
A goal. It's a shared goal.
shared goal. We would like to invite you to join us.
So Maggie and I have talked about how we both find all of these brilliant benefits of meditation, but just at the super high level, what is meditation and why is it important? Maggie, I believe you did some research here.
I did through Google. I mean, I already knew all this stuff because I've read a lot about meditation over the years and I've taken multiple classes, but I also sometimes just like to go back to Google to get a formal definition. So meditation is a practice where someone uses a technique such as mindfulness or focusing on a particular object or thought or activity to train your attention and awareness and achieve a mentally clear and emotionally calm and stable state. It's practiced throughout many different religious traditions. It's practiced all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Right. And ultimately, I mean, that's a really lovely definition. I would say the beauty of looking it up online is you find someone who's a professional who put words together to describe something. Because if you just asked me without me getting to Google it, I would say, oh, meditation is just when you sit down and you close your eyes.
Yeah.
But it's really a practice of mindfulness, right? And mindfulness is something like we all already have, we all already do, but we don't necessarily tap into that mindfulness every day. And so meditation is a way that we access that mindfulness.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different types of meditation. We'll go through some of them in a bit. I wouldn't get overwhelmed by that. I like you said, Liz, I think of it as just sitting quietly. And I happen to close my eyes. There are some types that involve your eyes being open, but don't worry. It's kind of like when we talk about personal finance in many ways. Like there's a million different nuances and details you can get caught up in. Ultimately, if you're doing some foundational things well with your finances, you're on the right track and don't overthink it. And I think the same way about meditation. There's not a right or wrong way to do it. There's different types. It's very personal and just don't think you could be doing it wrong. We'll come back to some actual guidance on doing it, but there is no wrong. Get started, try it. You'll learn as you go.
That's such a good connection to personal finance.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right. You're so smart. Okay. A couple also why you would want to meditate. I love that of a theme so far of this podcast we're recording tonight is it's free. So,
also tied to money.
Exactly. It's free. It costs $0 to sit down and close your eyes and meditate or meditate in any other way. And it's proven there's no reason not to do it. There's no harm. There's no side effects to meditation, but a couple of actual statistics for you in case you're a numbers person, a data person. I like to think I'm that kind of person. One, meditation definitely improves anxiety. We talked about this a lot in the episode, but there are studies that show 60% of the time that shows a measurable decrease in levels of anxiety.
It also can relieve insomnia 75% of the time. So there's research that suggests that it can lower your blood pressure. It can lower your chance of being hospitalized for different diseases.
Yeah. And there was a really interesting study that showed in one case, school suspensions were reduced by 45% thanks to an implemented meditation program.
It's because meditation calms you and you are less likely to have outbursts and get in fights and all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
It can also increase employees' productivity by 120%. Again, that's from a specific study, but I think the theme is it can increase your productivity. It can improve your focus. There's just so many benefits. I know you started with saying it's free, but I just always I'm a big fan of meditation. I know it makes me a better person, yet I still fall off the wagon of doing it and sticking with my practice. But I often am like, God, if there's something where I told you can do something in the privacy of your own home whenever you want throughout the day that reduces your stress, that can add years to your life, that can increase your EQ, that just makes you a better person, and it costs nothing. I feel like I'm trying to sell somebody something.
I know. I would pay money.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you try it? We pay hundreds of dollars to go to therapy and all these other things. And
that's so true. Although, I was talking to a coworker today about meditation, and he made a comment that I think is going to stick with me. And he was like, "Oh, in the Western world, we're so focused on the outcomes of meditation. We're like, well, I'm going to meditate because there's a 60% chance that it's going to reduce my blah, 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 instead of just doing it." And I was like, well, I am a Westerner and I am focused on the results.
Westerner through and through right here.
Exactly.
So it interestingly can also increase your finances, and not because it's free. We actually did a whole Friends on Fire podcast episode on this a long time ago around meditation and money and how it can improve your finances. But ultimately, I mean, it reduces the cost of mental and physical health services because of all the benefits we just talked talked about, right? It's cheaper than therapy because, again, it's free, and free is cheaper than something that costs even a copay or money. So actually, some people get therapy for free depending on their company's benefits. So in that case, it's not. You do, right? But that's very rare, I'd say.
Is. And it's not free. It's in exchange for labor.
Your life, right? True. That's true. Fair.
But yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it can increase your happiness. When you're happier, you spend less money trying to fill different voids in your life. You become a stronger, more confident person, and you feel like you have enough.
Right. And this idea of mindfulness, right? I think becoming generally more aware of what's going on with you, of your feelings, of your thoughts can help you make better decisions. And that can carry into budgeting, into prioritizing what you want to spend money on. I think it can even help in terms of investing, in terms of staying invested and not making impulse decisions to buy or sell, in terms of just being overall happy and satisfied with your life. We really do sound like an infomercial.
I know, we sound like we're trying to sell you something,
but it's free.
Another just really quick, personal story comparing it to therapy. A couple of things. One, I was having some conversation probably 6+ months ago with Greg, or maybe it was a year ago, about wanting to maybe go back to therapy and I hadn't been in therapy for a couple of years. And I was like, I really want to go back. And I was like, but I'm not going to allow myself to go back until I start meditating again. Because I was like, there's no point. I don't want to say there's no point. I'm a big fan of therapy. But even when I used to go to therapy more regularly, my therapist was always checking in with me about my meditation practice, because she knows that helps me dramatically. And I know it helps me dramatically. And it's almost like the foundational thing of if I I can go talk to someone for an hour, but I actually just need to use that time to meditate if I'm able to somehow prioritize that. And that's why I think having an accountability partner is so helpful, because therapy sometimes wins over meditation because you have a scheduled appointment to go see someone and you go and see them. And you should just schedule an appointment with yourself to meditate and do that, in my opinion. I'm not saying against therapy. I'm a big fan. I'm just saying for me, I once challenged myself to say, I'm not going to pay for therapy until I start doing the basics, which is meditation.
Yeah. And just to put a finer point on it, of course, meditation can't do all the same things that therapy can, and vice versa. But I think what you're saying is it's I'm not going to pay for my fancy gym membership until I actually make time to work out. If you make time to work out on a YouTube video for the next 2 weeks, okay, then you can go re-sign up for your fancy gym membership, because you're actually you're committed to this action in general.
Yes, right. Yes. You're committed to putting in the time to make things better, the time and energy to improve whatever you're focused on.
Yeah. Maybe that's not a perfect metaphor, but
no, but it's a good comparison. Which on that note, so our commitment that you and I talked about during that anxiety episode was that we would be each other's accountability partners, because we both want to get back on the meditation wagon, if you will. And we know that it helps when someone's checking in with you. I'm going to, Greg and I sometimes are each other's partners, but it's a lot easier to just sort of slide it past your spouse, or be I got a lot going on today.
Totally.
I just think if you're texting me and you're have you meditated? I'm going to be ooh, I don't want to lie to Liz, and I don't want to not do it. I would never lie to you.
No lying.
But no lying is a foundational rule of this challenge or commitment to each other. But we're going to try to be each other's accountability partner. And we're inviting all of you to join us this month. And you can sit with us, still, testing out the names. What's your commitment? What do you want to try to do this month, Liz?
So I'll tell you my goal, and then I want to tell you why.
Okay.
So my goal is to do some kind of meditation 12 times in the month of September. And I have 2 reasons for that. Because I think we were originally, my thought was originally every day.
That was my goal too. So when you said 12 times, it's wait a minute, I don't have to do it every day.
Well, so I can't remember what book I got this from, but I read a couple books about habits, and having an achievable goal is important. So if I said every day and then I missed September 2nd or September 3rd, I might just give up and quit. And then I also remember reading that if you're going to make a times per week goal, it's better to make it a times per month goal, because for the same reason, if I said 3 times a week and then the first week I only did 2, I kind of feel I again feel tempted to throw in the towel. Yeah. Whereas if I say 12 times, I know I can catch it up and I can make it up later. And I'm hoping that if I start this, I might, surpass 12.
Yeah.
But I want to set myself up for success.
I like agree with everything you said. So now I'm very struggling with what my goal should be, because I was going to be like every day. So 30 days, or you know what? Sometimes I'll do to meditate. This is in the spirit of what you said, but I'm going big or going home because I'm having some anxiety problems lately.
Yeah.
I am going to make the goal. I've done this before and it doesn't always work out, but we'll see, to meditate 30 times. That means I can make it up. It doesn't need to be 30 days, but 30 times in the month of September. So if I have a rough week, I can do 2-a-days, which actually, like in the practice, I was trained in transcendental meditation. You're supposed to do it twice a day. I never really did that. And I told the guy that told me that, which is not him, he was just a trainer, but I was like, that is unrealistic. You don't have kids in a job. Like nobody could do that. It was like 46 minutes a day. I was like, I'd have to give up working out or like other things, eating, something big would have to go in my life to do that.
Sleep.
What do you say? Yeah, sleep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go big because I feel like I really need this. And I feel like you're a good accountability partner. I'm going to say 30 times.
I love that for you. I do think you waited until I said 12 and then you're like 13.
No, I thought no. I would have said 13 if that was the case.
I'm just teasing.
But I thought we were doing every day. And so when I said 12, I was like, ooh, that kind of lets me off the hook. Like I was going to be like, oh, well, then I'm going to do 12. But I really do want to hold myself to what I think I need right now. Me personally, and I'm going to shoot for 30 times.
I think that that's great. And I think that this is something I also tried to bring into Off the Couch August. It doesn't have to be every day. This isn't a competition. It's not a challenge. It's just, in a way, Off the Couch August was also about mindfulness, right? It's not like, oh, I never want to sit on the couch and watch TV again. I just want it to be a mindful decision where I think, oh, okay, work is done. I have my evening in front of me. How do I want to spend it?
Yeah.
And I think that this can be, okay, I have September in front of me. I know that meditation will be good for me. What kinds of choices do I want to make here? So I think what we're saying though, is someone could decide to join us in You Can Sit With Us September and say, my goal is to meditate 1 time per week or 4 times for the month, or to just do it 1 time, or to spend some time Googling and try a new form of meditation that maybe I haven't tried before. Yeah.
You don't have to sit with us daily. You can sit with us 5 times. You can sit with us once a week, whatever it might be. It once, if you never meditated before and your goal is to do it once in the month of September, like that's progress, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm going to make a little tracker, and we can hold each other accountable via social media and keep in touch throughout the month. And so I would suggest you go follow Inside Out Money and Liz Gets Loaded on Instagram, and you'll see us both talking about it throughout the month, at least 12 times. And you're going to hear me talking about it 30 times, hopefully, because every time I do it, I'm going to immediately be like, oh my God, I'm actually back on. And I need that to keep myself honest.
And I mean, this is not required, but optional. You could post a photo of where you like to sit and meditate, or talk about what kinds of meditation you like to do. And then we can reshare those on Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion. Share some tips and tricks of what's working for you, what's not working, what you're having trouble with, even questions. If we can help, we're not professional meditation experts, but I think we both know a decent amount about it, and we're happy to help. And on that note, Liz, why don't you share some of the different types of meditation, just so we're not going to go through a detailed guide here. There are a lot of resources out there, but I think it's helpful to just walk through some of the different types.
Right. So many types. And I was half joking earlier when I said, oh, meditation is when you sit down and you be quiet. But there's so many different ways to do it. There are a couple, we'll start with a couple of things where you kind of do sit down and be quiet. So you can sit and focus on your breath or sensations, like the feeling of your clothes or any sounds that you hear, what you smell. And that's a form of mindfulness meditation. You can also sit and focus on your thoughts. I do this one a lot. And so the idea with the first one of kind of focusing on your breath might be, hey, I'm going to focus on my breath. My mind's going to wander away. And then I'm going to try to bring my awareness back to my breath. And I'm going to do that over and over again. Another way that I often practice is to sit down and focus on my thoughts. So just sort of open the door as okay, whatever's going to come in, and try to be an observer and just notice and be interested in the kinds of thoughts that come come to my mind.
Yeah, another type is transcendental meditation, aka TM, which is what Greg and I both took like a pretty intensive training class. And I'm not even saying like people need to do that in any way. It's more that I think gave us the focus to really commit to it and to learn a lot about it. And on that one, you use a mantra. So instead of focusing on like your in and out breath, you say a mantra, not out loud, but in your head. And that's kind of what you're focusing on instead of your breath, but it's kind of in sync with your breath, if you will.
Yeah.
And, on all of the types we've talked about so far and a lot of meditations, a lot of thoughts are going to come into your mind. Like I've heard so many people say like, oh, I can't meditate because I can't sit quietly. And you're just sitting quietly in the sense that you're not talking. Your mind is not quiet. Your mind is like what many people call like the monkey mind. Like all of a sudden when you sit quietly and close your eyes, your mind will just throw up with thoughts. That is normal. And I just say that because I've heard so many people say like, I can't quiet my mind. And then they just kind of quit meditating as a result.
Yeah.
And don't let that scare you.
Right. I had a teacher who described it as when you sit down and meditate, it's like you have a puppy and the puppy starts to wander away and then you bring it back and you put it back in your lap and then the puppy starts to wander away again. And some days you have more success keeping the puppy still. And some days, I think I told her one day, I was like, I feel like my puppy just saw a squirrel with a pork chop tied to it and it's gone. Like it has run away. It's never coming back.
Yeah. And on that note, every day the puppy's different. Some days it's easier. You actually do get, you're supposed to like over long periods of time, not necessarily right away. You do get better at quieting your mind as you build a mindfulness practice and as you have experience meditating. But it's normal, even when you've been doing it for years, that you have days where your mind is all over the place. And that's okay. You're not supposed to judge that. You're not supposed to be hard on yourself. You're just supposed to notice it and go back to whatever you are focusing on, which might be your breath or a mantra or whatever it might be.
It's okay if you say no, but do you want to share some of the mantras that you use or Greg use, or are they?
Oh no, TM, you're actually given a mantra. It's not mantras. You are assigned a mantra and that's the mantra that is like your mantra.
That's interesting. I would have a hard time using one. I
do like it, I'll say though. I like having a word. Like when I've told people, just pick a word because it gives you something to repetitively focus on. And to me, it helps to like clear your mind. Like I like to think there's like something in the,
right.
There's a method to the madness and but I don't think it matters what your mantra is.
Well, it's kind of similar. Okay. Don't let me go too far down the rabbit hole, but it's kind of like people who pick a certain word of the year. Like, that's a form of mantra. Mine is your savor, which is actually like really just a form of being mindful of your own pleasure. It's like very mindfulness focused. But I did one the other day. I did like a guided one where the woman's mantra that she was using was peace begins with me. But then she also did a little hand thing. So it was like peace, you tap your thumb to your forefinger, begins to your middle finger, with tap your thumb to your ring finger, and then me, tap your thumb to your pinky finger. And she said it's such a great thing because even when you're out in the world, you can sort of tap those fingers and like come back to a mantra.
I don't know if I love it or hate it. I'm like trying to think. I feel like it would like I overthink things like that. Like there's certain exercises and videos where I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to move my right arm where, and then my finger go, and then I tap which finger.
Well, it's just easy. But I'm a big fan of mantras. They're really helpful for me if I feel like only focusing on my breath or only focusing on my thoughts is too much. It's a way to get grounded in kind of a fast way. My favorite mantra that I've stuck with for years and years is, and it goes with breath, it's inhale, I am enough, exhale, I have enough. And it applies to so many things. When I'm stressed out about money, when I'm stressed out about work, when I'm stressed about life, it is very grounding for me.
I really like that. I actually practiced that while you were just saying it.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. And on that note, like we said, there's no wrong way to do this. Do what works for you. Try a couple different things, right? There's also guided meditations, which many people who are new at this, I think I've heard like guided meditations because it like the word says, it guides you through it. There's someone talking to you like in a gentle, it's not my voice, but it's a gentle, soothing voice. I don't even know how to make my voice gentle and soothing.
I think it sounds very soothing. I like listening to your voice.
I think you have a soothing voice.
That's nice.
No one likes their voice.
Yeah.
But they guide you through and they'll tell you, like, they'll remind you how to breathe. And they're often sharing thoughts. Like it might be on a particular topic. And so there could be guided sleep meditations that are helping you go to sleep. There could be guided meditations about there's ones focused on like like desire. And there's one that I think about because I think about it with money. So there's a lot of different topics that a guided meditation could kind of focus on. There's literally hundreds of them out there.
Right. And they can be structured differently too. So sometimes they're guiding you, okay, now focus on your breath. Now think this, now breathe this way. And some of them are more visualizations. Some of them are just saying a mantra over and over. So you don't even have to say it to yourself in your mind. You can just hear it. So yeah, there's all kinds of good ones. I think sleep meditations are becoming really, really popular. I use those a lot. I'm not saying that other people should do this, but I don't personally give myself credit for using a sleep meditation. Like I wouldn't check the box and say I meditated that day, but you might. It's different for everyone. But I like to use them to fall asleep at night. I definitely think I sleep better. And
on that note, it is very normal to fall asleep while trying to meditate, especially if you're tired. So when we went through when Greg and I went through this training class too, we actually were told like, look, if you fall asleep, like just roll into it, lay down if you need to. And I mean, you can wake up, but I often will like fall asleep sitting up. I'm like half dozing off. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. Again, when you kind of realize it, you kind of go back to your mantra, whatever you're whatever you're focusing on. But just I can't say it enough. Like, don't judge yourself and stop or quit because your mind's racing, because you fall asleep. Like all of these things are very normal, and just keep going and get back to it.
Well, and I think to add on to that, under the heading of there is no wrong way to meditate, there's also ways to meditate that don't involve sitting down and being still. So there's several different kinds of moving meditation. There's yoga. There are specific walking meditations. There's even, I would say, running without headphones used to be a big one for me. There's also ones where you don't have to close your eyes. There's like candle meditation where you light a candle and just stare at the flame. I like that one. Sometimes I have a hard time closing my eyes and keeping them closed for a variety of reasons. I like that one.
There was a different meditation. I can't remember the exact type, but Greg and I took a class on it that was different than our TM class. And it had your eyes were open and you were focused. It wasn't a candle, but you were kind of picked a spot on whatever wall where you like looked at that spot.
Right. Yeah.
And that one did like some walking meditations, which I thought were really interesting too. I didn't know. I'm like, I can get credit because we're making this up and it's whatever we want. But like you're running without headphones. I do always listen to things when I run. Every now and then I'll like forget my headphones or something. But I do think it is a very meditative to just because you're quiet alone with your thoughts. And for anyone who's been on Instagram lately with my mouth breathing, as I've recently transitioned how I'm breathing while running.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Another form of meditation to add to this list is also prayer. It's another form of contemplative practice, of mindfulness, and that can also be a really good one.
Yeah, very true.
I have a question for you. Would you consider journaling a kind of meditation?
Oh, it's funny. I thought you were going to say, would we like journal like notes about our meditation? I wouldn't, but we can, whatever. Would you? I mean, you could.
I was just thinking as I was trying to make this list and think through kind of like what is meditation, which is sitting down, noticing your thoughts, being mindful. I was like, wow, I really feel like I'm doing that when I'm journaling. I'm trying to be an observer of my own thoughts and pause and notice those things. So I don't know if I would, but I might just throw that out there. Again, there is no meditation police. There is no Sit With Us September police. You're not going to meditation jail.
I believe, and there's a lot of research that supports that journaling is a good and healthy activity. I don't think it's the same as meditation. I'm not sure it has all the same benefits that meditation has, but it's also really helpful. And so like you said, there's no meditation police. What I do though is when I am meditating, you're not supposed to do this and if you're like formally trained, but again, I just think like the formal training is not necessary. But when I meditate and I have a thought that comes into my head that's like something I want to do or like a good idea for something, like I'll think about all sorts of things while meditating. I will often stop real quick and write it down because I don't want to keep ruminating on it and be like, oh, I hope I don't forget this thing. It distracts my meditation and I would rather write it down real quick. And that kind of like gets me to be able to stay focused on what I'm trying to do. And so I don't think there's anything wrong. I thought that's what you were saying at first with journaling, but feel free to take notes while you're journaling if it's helpful to you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
Okay. And then I think the last thing is there's a lot of different tools out there that can help you. So we talked a little bit about guiding meditations. There's apps that are really helpful. Headspace has become very popular over the years. It's a paid app. It's fairly expensive. I think it's like $100 a year last I saw. And look, if that works for you, I know we kept saying how free meditation is. I don't love paying for certain apps, but if I do believe like $100 a year is it's less than one therapy session if you don't have insurance. And I do believe it is a useful way to spend money if you're going to do it, you're going to stick with it. That being said, there's a ton of free apps. We'll put some in the show notes.
I would say too, sometimes I do feel if I spent $100 on something, I would for sure use it. It would be motivating for me to actually use it because I wouldn't want to waste $100.
Yeah.
But I get that that's not for everyone and that's not the wise choice for everyone. But
yeah, well, you could pay me $100 to check in with you about your 12 time and
I
then it
mean,
would motivate you.
I'm not going to, but like I really would. We talked about this in the last episode too. I think like coaching and accountability is actually like a really valuable paid service. And I keep meaning to do a podcast episode about this. I have been really thinking on the idea of like all the places that coaching can be helpful in your life, like a personal trainer, like a corporate coach, the people who come help you clean out your closets. Like there's times it makes sense to pay someone for that service.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be a good topic. Okay, so the point is there's a lot of other free apps. Liz is not going to pay me. I don't want her to pay me either way. I don't want your money, Liz.
Wait, do you want to make this like real competitive, like a bet? Like if you don't meditate, you have to give money to a charity you don't like.
Yeah, I know. There's actually a ton of research, and there's some guy that created an app that is that. It's like, I can't remember the name of it, but you have to pre-commit and like they take your money. And if you don't meet the goal, I think it was like for losing weight, and there is in some multiple books I've read about.
Yeah.
But yeah, you having to like donate money to something that you don't support, political candidate you don't support, or something that like would make you really angry to fund, or you just lose the money, right?
Yeah.
People were like making bets with friends.
Right. Because humans are so loss averse. Like we're much more motivated by the potential of losing money than like the potential of gaining money. Like if I thought I was going to lose $100, if I didn't hit this, I'd be more motivated than if it was like, oh, I'm going to pay you $100 if you do hit goal.
Yeah. And you'd be more motivated than me just telling you that meditation will improve your life.
Yeah. That doesn't motivate anyone to do anything. Like, sometimes
you're right. You're 100%. Yeah, you're 100% right.
Just telling people like, this is good for you. If that worked, everyone would wear a helmet when they were riding their bike. No one would smoke.
Yeah.
Like
everybody would have their personal finances would be in tip top shape, and they would have an emergency fund, and they would spend less than they made. And like, everything is easier said than done.
Exactly.
But anyways, there are a lot of free apps. We'll put a link in the show notes to many different meditation apps that we know of and or have personally used before that are free. There's also Headspace. There's the Calm app, which is also a paid app.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the free ones are like Buddhify. And then there's some that are actually, Buddhify might be one that has a small one-time fee, which I don't mind an app that's like $10 and I can use it for the rest of my life. Insight Timer is another app I really like. It has a lot of cool guided meditation.
Insight Timer is one I definitely downloaded and started some program and then never did it again. Abandoned it. Sorry, Insight Timer.
Greg really likes Audio Dharma. They have an app, and then they also have you can get to them online also, but it's a actual meditation center that I think is in California somewhere.
I will also add, y'all know I love my Peloton ecosystem, and
of course
Peloton
they have meditation out.
They have a lot of guided meditations. I really like their sleep meditations. Shout out to Anna Greenberg, who puts me to sleep often. And they have a just meditate feature. So you can go in and just track, like there's no sound, there's no music. You just track how long, and it adds it to your overall stats that Peloton keeps track of.
Oh, that's cool. I like it.
It's cool. Okay. Well, so this is posting on September 1st, the first day of Sit With Us September / You Can Sit With Us September. And so if you're listening to this, that means Sit With Us September has already started. You can start right now. You could hit pause right now and just start meditating and be doing your first one, or you can come look at our Instagram stories on either Liz Gets Loaded or Inside Out Money and see what we're doing for meditation.
Yeah. We'll post a little tracker you can use if you want to help keep yourself accountable with
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Gold Star will get me to do almost anything.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. Yeah. I used to keep a meditation tracker that is one page and it had every day of the year on it. And I would just tick it off. And I got to get back on that. Those are the sort of tools that actually like keep.
That sounds so satisfying.
Okay. Well, I hope this episode has been helpful. Like Liz said, you could go and like pause this episode and actually start meditating. Did you say start meditating or go look us up?
Go meditating.
Oh yeah, go meditate. Before you meditate though, you should go leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts. Actually, in all seriousness, if I had to weigh, because I care about you, let's just be clear. And I mean you as in like the listener and you, Liz, because I care about all of you. If I had to choose between you leaving us a written review on Apple Podcasts or meditating, I would 1,000 times prefer you meditate. It is better for you than leaving us a review. But if you have time to do both, that'd be cool if you want to go leave us a written review.
Priorities. Your mental and physical health first, our reviews second.
But not third, just second.
Then your family, then your
Third is that we also encourage you to share this episode with a friend or family member. But seriously, we do, because like we're being each other's, like we're going to help hold you accountable on Instagram, but we're also going to like text each other daily. Right.
Yeah.
And if you want someone, no offense, but I'm not sure if you can like text us daily. I'm not sure I can handle the text volume, but text us every now and then and tell us how you're doing.
Yeah.
And find a friend that you can text daily and that you can do this with and share. Go send, it's, you know, hopefully you still got time on the first. You could start this challenge. You could start this on the second if you need to.
Right.
But send it with, share this episode with a friend or family member and say, hey, go listen to this quick. And then let's meditate together. And you can sit with us September. Get more people to join us, sit with us this September.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. I can't wait. I wish it was already September right now. It's only August right now as we're recording this, but
you got 2 days. You could like practice, start to get in the groove. I might just to like get myself, remind myself. By the way, every time I restart and I kind of like fall off the wagon for a little bit and I get going again, I'm always like, I feel so much better after I meditate.
Even after the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Especially because
Totally.
I've done it before. So I like, it's like muscle memory. I remember how good it feels.
Yeah.
If it's your first time ever, you may not feel immediately better after it, but I mean, you might, because sitting quietly is just nice, especially if you have a chaotic life or any stress, which I think people.
If you don't, then you don't need any advice from us on literally anything. So please write a book and I will buy it if you have no stress in your life. Okay. Well, did we do it?
Yeah, we're done. We did it.
All right. Bye, Maggie.
Bye, Liz.
We're going round and round and round and round and round.